Hello everyone, welcome back. This is James with New Life Taxidermy and Guns. I'm going to do a video for you tonight. I'm going to show you, walk you through how to install a scope on a Ruger 1022. I've got the gun set up in a Tipton's Best gun vise. I really recommend this product. You don't have to have a gun vise to accomplish a scope installation, but it certainly does aid in the process. Okay, if you can see here on the top of the receiver, there's 4 screws, and I'm going to take those out, and Ruger supplies you with a scope base. Okay, the front holes are a little closer together than the back holes, so there's only one way it can go. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull those screws out, and I'm going to clean the screw holes on the scope base, these screw holes in the receiver, and if you can see this little screw, that's the screw they give you. They give you 4 of those to screw the new scope base down. So I'm going to clean the screw holes with denatured alcohol. I'll use a little Q-tip and a little paintbrush to clean that, and I'll let it dry real good. And that way, when we go to install this this base and put our screws in, we'll use some blue Loctite on it. You can use red if you'd like. Red is really a permanent installation. But anyway, with the cleaned screw holes, you won't have any grease in there, and with the Loctite, you'll really be able to make sure those screws don't back out when you start firing the gun. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll stop the video and I'll start it back once I've got the screw holes clean and I'm ready to put the scope base on. As you can see, I've already taken the screws out and cleaned the holes. I've also cleaned the threads on the screws, and I'm ready to put my scope base on. So I'm going to position it, and I'm probably not going to be able to do this and hold the camera, but I'm going to apply a little bit of blue Loctite to the screw threads, and then secure this scope base with these 4 screws. We'll give you a piece of advice. You don't want to over tighten any screws. You don't want to warp or crack or anything, or strip your screws out, or strip screw heads. I also recommend using a good screwdriver. This one is from Wheeler Engineering. It's a gunsmith screwdriver set. You want to use the proper size screwdriver bit for your screws. You want one that takes up most of the screw head. I would say like 80% of the screw head, the slot in the screw head, and it is the correct width for the screw you're using. So that's just a piece of advice. You know, you can use whatever you've got if you don't have that, but it'll certainly do a better job on the installation. All right, we'll go ahead and stop this part and pick it back up once we've got the blue Loctite applied and the screws tightened down. Okay, I've got the scope base installed with the blue Loctite on the screws, and got everything tightened down. So I tightened all the screws down, and then I go back and recheck for tightness, just to make sure that as you screw the back screw down, it doesn't affect a front screw. Now I'm ready to put my scope on. Now if you're going to use a scope with rings or whatever, you'll go ahead and install those at this point, but the scope I'm using is a Pursuit ARI 3X Prism sight, and it's got a little red dot mounted on top of it. I got this from Bass Pro Shop. It's a pretty nice little setup for a 1022. Basically all you're going to do is we're going to loosen these 2 nuts and slide it onto the scope base here, and it'll fit in one of these little slots, and we'll tighten it down, and then we're going to check our eye relief. And I'll come back after I've got it on and talk to you a little bit about it. I've got the scope onto the sight base, and I've got it just finger tight. I'm not going to tighten it down until I check my eye relief. And what I mean by eye relief is we're going to take the gun and we're going to put it into a comfortable firing position. We're going to look through the scope. You should be able to get a clear picture, and you'll know if your eye relief is not right when you look through the scope. it just won't be, you'll see the little black ring inside, and it just won't have a good clear picture. But we can adjust that by moving the scope forward or backwards. Once we get it to a good position, then we'll take a 1/2-inch wrench and tighten those nuts down right here. We'll tighten them down a little bit better. Again, not over tight. We don't want to crack or break anything, but we'll get it where it won't move once we start shooting the gun. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off. I think this is pretty much all you're going to need to see on this. As you can see, there's really nothing to this procedure. Anyone can do it. We do offer scope mounting as a service here at New Life Taxidermy and Guns. If you would like for us to mount a scope for you, it'll come ready, bore sighted and ready to go. I'll bore sight this later. I might do a separate video on that, but I'm not going to do it at this time. But basically, when you bore sight it, it means you're aligning the crosshair reticles with the bore. It doesn't mean that it's zeroed by any means. You'll need to shoot the gun and check for zero with that, but it'll get you pretty close by bore sighting the scope ahead of time. Okay, thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for being our customers and our friends. And if we can help you with any of your gun or taxidermy needs, give us a call, 919-701-9389, or visit us on the web at www.newlifetaxidermy.com.